Thanks for coming by the Amazing Libertines channel. I'm Best Age Comics, and I want to tell you about the best ages of comics, comics through the decades. And my background in comics is I'm a 50-year-plus reader of comics, and I'll be sharing some of the stories that I've seen over the last 5 decades. And I'm sharing these stories because they gave me so much enjoyment. And some of these are available in trade paperbacks or in, collected editions, but others you might be able to find. Like I found this story, DC Star Spangled War Stories, number 162. And I found it because I read it, back around 1975, and it made such a stark impression on me. The stories were excellent, from that time. This book I read this in 75. This story was written in April, May of 72. It was somebody else's collections. I was over at a friend's house, and this story didn't even have credits in it. Like today, you'll see they put the writers and artists' names easy to be found. This one didn't, but I could tell who did it by looking at it. I knew that Joe Kubert did the first story, and Russ Heath did the second. And Russ Heath is one of my all-time favorite artists ever. He's an incredible draftsman. He took a lot of time and a lot of effort to make his machines, like World War I planes and trucks and weapons and tanks, as accurate as possible. And his figures weren't bad either. He was just terrific. This was my first introduction to the Balloon Buster, Steve Savage the Balloon Buster. This is where I first read about him in 1975. And this story, again, was just terrific. It just blew me away, even at that young age. I was just so impressed at how the artwork was so precise that I could imagine that these scenes were real, that they could have actually happened. And the storytelling in the backup story, written, and I looked it up, and it was written by Robert Kanigher, a important writer of the DC War comics and other stories too. And he just wrote so many, and the stories were terrific. And I was going through this story again, and it is just amazing from panel to panel, the storytelling talent that Kanigher and Russ Heath had together, where you just went through panel after panel of this airplane duel, and it was just absolutely amazing. The first story made an equal impression on me. That's why I looked for this book for a long time. I had no idea what the number was. I had no idea, who did it. I just knew it had the unknown soldier, who is an unknown soldier. He uses disguises, and his face is always wrapped in bandages. But I knew the cover. This image, this Joe Kubert cover, was emblazoned in my head. And this story, written by Joe Kubert also, written and drawn, was a powerful story to me as a 10-year-old because the themes of the story were themes that resonated with a 10-year-old. As a 10-year-old, I faced bullies, and sometimes had to fight. And you were always afraid of being a coward. And that was the same thing that happened in this story. It's about a new recruit. He's trained, and he's wondering if he's going to be a coward. And the unknown soldier's connection to it is that they were sending him into the field with these new recruits to find out how effective the training was. So that's why he's there, to be a witness to this young soldier's story. But it also had this panel in it. You know, this soldier, everybody's watched him freeze up and everything. They sent him to check out an alleyway, and there is a Wehrmacht soldier lying in wait. And it was this scene in there that was just incredible. And in the storytelling in this panel, you know, the barman, man with the big machine gun, he's at one end of the alleyway. He tries to give the soldier cover, but the German soldier doesn't step out. He just wraps, you know, his submachine gun around the corner without looking. It just sprays the whole area, and he takes out the barman. So I remembered this scene too. And again, this is just great storytelling with the way that these panels are laid out, where the unknown soldier, he comes back to find, you know, his guy's in trouble. And the German soldier tries that stunt again, except that this time he, you know, the unknown soldier does it to better effect. Yeah, so finally, all right, the unknown soldier doesn't give up on the guy. He sticks by him and gives him an opportunity. And by the end of the story, yeah, he's put into a situation where, you know, and he rises to the occasion and performs. And that's what the story was about. And so it was a story that etched itself on my elementary school brain, and I went looking for it after the fact. Great story, great storytellers. This is what today's creators have to come up to the level of. They've got to try. So here we had Joe Kubert, Robert Kanigher, and Russ Heath, great storytellers. 52 big pages, only 25 cents. The other thing that these issues had, which was really cool, is they had their numbers inside here. And I looked at another Balloon Buster Steve Savage story written in 1966. And the numbers the print numbers were up in the 400,000s as far as how many copies of that comic that they printed. This one, when I found that page, and come on now, where are you? There we go. And it gives the circulation numbers right here in the book. And here the circulation looks like the copies are down into the 150 to 288,000 numbers of copies that are printed. So the numbers have come down from 1966 to 1972. So, and I think that's eventually the war comics. There, you know, DC had 5 war titles. You know, the war comics gradually, you know, became less and less popular, or they sold fewer and fewer issues, and they gradually disappeared over time. But there were some incredible stories. And if you can get one of the DC war comics from this era, chances are you're going to read a very entertaining story. So thanks again, you know, for coming by the channel, and I appreciate it. And please hit the like button if you like this video, and become a subscriber of the channel. And if you didn't like the video, I'll try harder.